It is a beautiful morning, so nice here in mid-May, and I want to show you guys what's growing in this little garden here, and then I want to show you my blueberry bushes along with my container garden, the plants that I bring in and out of the garage in the winter, and so that would include my kaffir lime tree, along with I'm also going to show you my pepper GreenStalks that I grow in my lower driveway. I'll show you my chickens, and then I'll show you my lower garden where I'm growing a lot of different kind of things like the tomatoes and potatoes, that kind of thing. So let's take a look here and I'll show you a few things. This little raised bed garden started out originally as a square foot garden, as you guys know if you watch my tours over the past many years. However, I've kind of switched it over to where I'm growing flowers and perennial herbs, and then I'll occasionally throw in some tomato plants over here. So I'm not actually following the square foot garden planting method here. I'm going to do that more in my lower garden, which is in the other part of my yard. So I'll try to show you guys that as well. So this tarragon is just beautiful. I just cannot believe how high it is, and it's become established. So I've been taking cuttings off of this and making more plants. As you know, with the French tarragon, I covered that in my video. You have to grow that from a cutting and not from seed. It won't flower. And if it does, my understanding is the flowers will be sterile. So, and then we have Sweet William over here. I planted that from seed last year. So this year I'm enjoying the blooms. And I snuck a little tomato plant over there in the corner. I'm planting out my tomatoes now. I have potatoes here in the middle. Okay. And another tomato plant there. That's a potato leaf variety. It's an Uncle Mark Bagby. And then a lot of dill. Love my dill, cilantro. Everything is just so pretty right now, and the birds are just singing. More cilantro right there. And then over here, my peas had a hard time coming up over here in this bed. I'm thinking I should have inoculated it because they're not coming up as well as they used to in previous years, but some did. So there's a sugar snap pea there, and that parsley, and then my sage right back there. Of course, here in the middle is Greek oregano, and then we have thyme back there in the corner is lemon thyme, and then I have celery. You can see right there between the thyme and the oregano is celery. And then I have a little bit of dill coming up here. So I always use celery when I make my chicken stock, so I wanted to try to grow some more of that this year. I've grown it before, and it did really nice in this garden. More tomato plants there in the back, and we have blue Tuscan, I think, rosemary, which survived my winter beautifully. I normally grow ARP, but we really didn't have a very cold winter, so I mean, we didn't have cold temperatures for a long period of time, so it survived great. So that's, I think, blue Tuscan rosemary. And then, of course, some more sugar snap peas coming up here. And I think I have some borage, which has reseeded. That's what that looks like. And I grew that over here, I want to say last year. It could have been the year before. And celery. And then more tomato plants back there. So everything's just doing great. Now here, you'll probably wonder what this huge plant is in the middle. Well, that is hollyhock, and I grew it from seed last year. It did not bloom, but it looks like I'm going to be able to enjoy some of its blooms this year. So I have Sweet William in the front, and then when those die back, hopefully this will be blooming. And I will obviously have to move this plant at some point. I think it's supposed to come back every year. I'm just not sure. I've got to research that. But I saw hollyhocks. I saw a picture of them. I thought, oh, those are beautiful. And they're supposed to get like 5 to 6, maybe 8 feet high. So that's going to be a big flowering plant. And then over here we have more sugar snap peas. And I just gave them a trellis here. Looks like I'm starting to get some peas. So that's great. Love my sugar snap peas in the spring. All right. And then right here, this little brown spot, that's saffron. So I'm going to pull off the dead, and hopefully I'll see some more green coming up, and I harvest the saffron in the fall. Alright, so that is this garden. Let me show you my chickens, and then I'm going to show you my blueberries. Okay, so I'll show you my chickens, my 3 hens. And then I have, of course, 8 other hens. They're really just pullets at this point in my other tractor. So these are my 3 girls. They are laying like crazy right now. We're getting about 18 eggs a week. So we can't hardly eat what we're getting from these 3 girls. And so this is their 2nd season laying. They stopped over the winter for about 2.5 months. There they are. Alright, so here are my blueberry bushes, and I will show you all of them. I have 6 total. I have 4 that are doing great and 2 that are kind of struggling. So right here is the one I usually pick from first. It produces the first crop for me, and there are just loads and loads of blueberries on here. Should have a very good harvest. It's almost time for me to start covering this. I need to do that before the birds eat them. I like for them to start to form the berry first before I cover them. And I side dressed it with a lot of horse manure. And then this one back here, I pruned it pretty heavily this year. And of course I've moved out. I had some weed block. It was encroaching too much, I think, at the base of the blueberries. And as you know, when you grow blueberries, it shoots up new canes every year. And so I think I may have covered it up too much. So I opened it up a lot more at the base of the plants and pruned them real good. But you can see these are very green, and my other ones are starting to get a little bit of a bluish tint to them. So these were my mid-season blueberries. And then this one as well. Okay, this one's not doing quite as well as the others, but it's still one of my better bushes. This is one I had a really hard time with a while back, and I just cut it down, and so now it's springing back. No berries on it. That was one of the ones that was struggling, and this is struggling also. So that's just nothing really, but I'm not going to pull it out. We'll see what happens. And this is one we planted, I think, last year, so it's got a lot of berries on there. This one looks, I think this one's a late season. They're still real green, could be mid to late. So there are my blueberry bushes, and now I want to show you my container garden and my kaffir lime tree, which is doing something crazy. Alright, so here are the containers that I bring inside every winter, and I just leave them in my garage. So this is the Meyer lemon tree. I have a lot of blooms on here. The leaves are struggling a little bit. This is my calamondin right here, and it looks like it's halfway dying on me, but I have some new growth right there in the middle, and I actually have some calamondins over here. Okay, so I need to give this plant a little more attention. It's screaming for help. And then sweet bay laurel, bay leaves for cooking. I'm kind of scared to put that in the ground here. I'm right on the edge of it. Might make it, it might not make it through the winter. So I've been keeping it in a container. I do think this would be very nice indoors in a larger container. So I might find a new home for it. And lemongrass, of course. I typically use this lemongrass just to make new plants with. So I'll just pull off the stalks, root them, and have a new plant. Now this is what I want to show you. This is my poor kaffir lime tree. It's really struggling. I am going to attempt to make more trees this summer. Half of the tree is dead. So you see where it forks off right here. To the left, all of that is growing fine. It's all coming back. It loses its leaves every winter. Okay, and didn't start out that way, but I think the root ball that it was grafted to is kind of taking over the tree, but the leaves still look like the kaffir lime leaves and not the trifoliate orange, which is, I think, the rootstock. So this side of the tree is completely dead. Nothing, no life on it whatsoever. So I'm going to probably cut off this half of the tree that's dead and then just let this grow, and I'm going to make some more trees this year, and I'll show y'all that when I do it. Okay, so also here are my green stalks that I planted my peppers in. These are mostly going to be red bell peppers. And so when I grow bell peppers, I usually will get about 22 pounds of peppers per green stalk. So that will be wonderful. They're looking great. Looks like they're doing fine. I got all those moved out last weekend. So proud to have that checked off my list. Everybody's busy out there, I'm sure, this time of year. Okay, and then I just put over here some mammoth jalapeno plants. And so I'm going to grow these in the little tubs like I used to grow many, many years ago. Okay, so we'll head down here and I'll show you what I have growing. I'm using more of the square foot gardening planting method down here. Okay, so let's take a look. We have a huge hawk in this area, and that's one reason I don't, I've moved my chickens to another area instead of our backyard, because we have a lot of predators in the back at night. And then of course the hawks are always hunting here by the pond. So here we go. This is my little square foot garden. I've been busy out here. I'm going to grow pole beans up the little trellis here, which is my old greenhouse frame, and I'm using it as my trellis. I showed y'all how I do that. And then I've planted peppers. I have sweet potatoes here in the middle. I'm going to plant out a lot more sweet potatoes. I've just started planting down here. Of course, a lot of dill. I threw out some seeds early in the spring. So, and I have a zinnia there, it looks like, that reseeded. So that was easy work for me. Hardly any work at all. Just had to make sure not to pull it out by accident. And then we have a lot of tomatoes that I planted out. I have mint growing kind of all over the place in here. And I need to mulch this like I did over here. So this is work in progress down here. It's always a work in progress. And more tomatoes all along this bed. I will put a string trellis up here. Those are real easy to find on Amazon. And you just tie them to 2 stakes at either end. So I'll put a string trellis here. These are all of my potatoes. These are Kennebec, so they're great for storage. And I have onions right back there. I showed y'all how I like to grow onions in this area. And then we have more potatoes here. I put a couple of tomato plants over here as well. And then I think I sprinkled out some seeds. Sometimes if I have seeds and I'm not sure if they're good and they're really old, I'll just throw them out down here. But I don't mark them because I'm not sure they're going to come up. But I don't want to throw the seeds away either. So I think these might be beets. Just not sure. We'll find out. That's my mystery plant. We all have mystery plants, don't we? And then over here is where I'm planting a lot of different herbs. Mostly I'll make this another perennial bed. I'll probably end up doing just all French tarragon here and taking cuttings because it's so hard to find, and I would like to be able to give it to people. So anyway, and then I'll plant pole beans on this side of the trellis too, of course. So this is still, I have loads of room in here. Lots of cilantro came up. I sprinkled out those seeds along with dill early in the spring, and all the rain just worked its magic and they popped up on their own, no problem at all. My dill and my cilantro. And of course I have Sweet William there, you see it blooming. First thing that blooms out here is that, and it's so pretty. So there you have it. That's what I've been growing and working on, and I hope you guys are having fun out there digging in the dirt. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.